So, good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome to our live stream this morning. My name's Jackie Labbe, and I'm Pro Vice-Chancellor Academic here at DMU. And basically what this means is that I look after everything to do with your teaching and learning while you're at the university. First of all, I just really want to congratulate everyone who has secured a place with us. And to those of you who haven't yet secured your place, but have now received your grades, please do be assured that we are here from you and that we're making offers based on your teacher-assessed grades. I know there's some BTEC students out there who haven't yet received your marks, and we want to let you know that we are saving places for you, and we'll come on to this a little bit later in this live stream. So today we'll be answering as many of your pressing questions as we possibly can about how to apply to study with us in September, and also give you the chance to find out what life will be like for you when you arrive with us. And we know that following an uncertain couple of weeks, many students and many of you will be unsure about your next steps, and we hope that today we can reassure you. We're very positive about your future, and we're going to talk this through with you today. We're going to be joined by clearing and accommodation experts and also students today to provide you with all the advice that you could possibly need. We're also joined by Olga from the communications team here at DMU, who is going to take us through the stream and ensure that everything runs smoothly. So welcome again, and over to you, Olga.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Olga. I work for the DMU communications team. First of all, let's introduce our panel for today. So we have Henrik from our schools and colleges team today, who will be answering your questions about clearing and provide you with all the relevant information about the process that you need to go through. We also have Lydia from our accommodation team today to provide any answers to your questions about accommodation and how to book it, and again, the processes that you might need to go through. We also have our current student, Tierney, today, who can tell you a little bit more about her time at DMU and what you can expect from your student life here and your student life in Leicester. And finally, we have Callum, our performing arts student who received his offer to study at DMU. So he's going to ask a couple of questions today as well, and we're going to answer them. So this is our lovely panel, and we'll hear from them throughout the live stream today. So just to kick things off, Jackie, please could you tell us a little bit about your DMU future?
Yeah, I'd be really happy to. So we understand that this has been an incredibly significant year for you, and it's been a significant year for all of us. Who could have imagined we'd find ourselves in this kind of world? And it's just thrown everything up in the air, and it's all landing in different places from where we used to. So we've been working really hard over the last couple of months to make sure that we can pull together all of the information that you will need to start your year, or indeed for some students, return to your year with us. And to be able to make sure we can respond to these challenges as well as we possibly can. So your DMU Future is where we've assembled all the information that you will need to make your time with us interesting, challenging, and safe. So we're committed to making sure that you get all the extra help that you need, that you feel safe living and studying with us on campus, that you receive the quality teaching that you're entitled to, and also one-to-one time with academics, as well as a great student experience. I think that wraps it up in a nutshell, but as we go through the live stream, as questions emerge, we'll be able to tell you more and more.
Thank you, Jackie. Could you give us a bit of an insight of what measures have already been put in place on campus and about learning as well?
Sure, yes. So we decided quite early on that we would put all of your lectures online and make sure that those were pre-recorded. Now, by lectures, this doesn't mean all your teaching by any means. What a lecture is the kind of very large group teaching that in the past you would have crowded into a lecture hall with 100 or 200 other students and sat in a seat and listened to really interesting and useful and essential information, but you would have been a lot of you in one room. But clearly that's not something that we can do in the same way right now. So we decided that in order to make the best possible use of all of our rooms, we would pre-record and put online all of our lectures. Now what that means is all the rest of the kind of teaching that you might have, so seminars, workshops, studios, labs, that kind of thing, we can then make the best possible use of our rooms and have as much on-campus teaching as we possibly can, and especially for those courses, like for instance, performing arts, where it's really important to be on campus in a room together. So I have to say that even last spring, when we went into the emergency period, our performing arts students did some fantastic stuff, working together from their different homes and making use of technology to make that really effective. So all of your large-scale lectures will be pre-recorded and online. Now, for the rest of your teaching, there will be a combination of online live teaching, so the kind of teaching that will be timetabled, and on-campus live teaching, which is also timetabled. We've also put together an enhanced package of learning resources, and what this includes is also a brand new student handbook that takes you through what you can expect in our blended learning environment. And when we talk about blended, basically that means the combination of online and on campus. We're also putting together a mini module and asking all of our students to take this mini module in your own time in the first few weeks of term. This module will help you to prepare for your learning online. Also, we've ensured that our campus is safe and socially distanced to help make you feel secure when you are attending your on-campus teaching.
That's lovely. Thank you, Jackie. So, of course, because students will be present on campus at some point and they will need to physically be there, and in current circumstances, a lot of students might be a little bit worried about it. So please, could you tell us a little bit more about the safety measures that have been put in place?
Sure, yes. So what we talk about when we talk about flexible and blended, it means that, as I said, it's a combination of online and on campus. For your online offer, there's going to be a lot of enhanced study and technical support. So we're working, for instance, on being able to offer some of our students who require virtual access to computer labs and specialist software. And also our other teaching content will be online in virtual versions for those students who maybe are not able to get to campus for a wide variety of reasons. But for those that is on campus, so here I'm talking about, say, practical and lab-based sessions, seminars, workshops, and tutorials. These are the kind of things that we do want to make face-to-face as much as possible. But in all these instances, we have to make sure that we can observe social distancing. So we want your life at DMU to be an exciting and interesting life, but we also want it to be safe and secure. So, for instance, we're making sure that all of our facilities, and this includes the library, our food and drink outlets, student study spaces, are safe for you to enjoy when the new academic year begins. So we've laid out all of our rooms and spaces with very specific signage that tells you, for instance, where you can sit and where you shouldn't sit, how to make sure that you've maintained the right kind of social distancing. We've got a lot of one-way systems throughout the entire university. And where we can't make it entirely one way, we're very clear in terms of the signage about the best way to get around a building to make sure that you can feel secure. We're implementing thorough safety and hygiene measures across the campus, including hand sanitizer points. So I talked about one-way systems. We're having enhanced cleaning measures to make sure that the equipment that you might use is made ready, and that in some instances you can make it ready for yourself as well before you use it. We will also be asking everyone to wear face coverings in teaching spaces and most other indoor spaces. And this seems to be a really important way, both for ourselves to feel secure and for others to feel secure in group settings. Now, we do know that for some, wearing a face mask isn't possible. And so we're also making plans about that as well to make sure that we can support you to feel safe and secured. So really the big message is that we really want to reassure you that the campus will be open at the start of the next academic year. It starts on October 5th with all relevant safety measures applied. Now, really one of the biggest things to say is that the DMU community is a caring, compassionate, and understanding one. And your health and safety during your time with us is of paramount importance to us. So the things that we're asking you to do are really to make sure to help keep yourself and others safe while you're with us. Finally, the thing I want to say is that we have put together what we're calling a shared commitment to our community safety, and you can find this on your DMU Future. And what this really means is that we all commit together as a community to observing the measures that I've described, as the students and staff alike, because we really very much are of the view that once we're all together on campus, we are part of a community, and it's our own responsibility to make sure that we feel safe and secure, that we help others to feel safe and secure as well. There's a lot of information about the things we've put together on your DMU Future. You can also ask questions as we go through this live stream as well. But really what we want to make sure is that as long as you're with us studying, you also feel safe and secure.
Thank you very much for this, Jackie. So hopefully this answered some of your questions about online learning, blended learning approach, and safety on campus. Like Jackie said, if you have any more questions, you can either ask them in the comments and we'll answer them at the end of the stream, or you can go to our Your DMU Future page and we'll have a lot of information there as well. If you'd like to take a look at the new campus, we actually have a new video that shows you a little bit of that. So gives you a bit of an insight into how things are going to work in the next academic year. So if you go to our YouTube channel, the video is there for you. It was released on Friday, so you can take a look. Thank you very much. So we're going to move on to the clearing process, and we're going to speak to Henrik from our Schools and Colleges team. Hi, Henrik. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role here at DMU?
Hi, Olga. Thank you. Yeah, so I work in the school and college outreach team. And I guess sort of one of the biggest parts of my role is to travel around to various schools and colleges within the East Midlands and have those face-to-face conversations with students regarding all things related to universities. So that includes like the UCAS process, clearing, which obviously I'm going to touch on today, things like student finance, student life, all the kind of stuff that, you know, potential students might be thinking about when it comes to applying to university. Now, obviously, because of the COVID situation, a lot of our interaction at the moment is done virtually through streams like this today. So I think we're all sort of, myself and speaking on behalf of the people in my team, I think we're itching to get back on the road and back into the schools and colleges. But yeah, it's really good. It's something that when I was, you know, way back when applying to university myself, I didn't have the opportunity to speak to anybody from the institution to give any of that information that's really quite vital. So it's a really good opportunity to speak to people and you know, ask any questions if you've got any regarding all things related to university. So yeah.
Thank you, Henrik. Make sure you ask all of those questions, because this is the expert here about all of the clearing questions, student finance, anything that might be bothering you, all of the stressful stuff. He's here to help. So
no pressure.
Just to start things off, could you tell us about the latest update on A-level results and what happens to students when they apply to uni?
Yeah, of course. And sort of just to echo what Jackie said as well, as an institution, we are really here to provide for you guys. So and we have your best intentions at heart. So obviously everything regarding A-levels, BTECs, that sort of stuff is subject to change. But at the moment, you're welcoming the revised sort of process for predicted grades and that kind of thing for A-levels and GCSE results. So if you have been awarded your qualifications and your results, you can apply to us through clearing. If you haven't yet received those grades and you're going to go off your teacher awarded grades, we can make you a conditional offer. And now all you need to do for that is just contact us through our clearing lines, and we can look to make you a conditional offer. And then all us to do is just get your school or your college to send in those predicted grades, and we can look to make you an offer. If you don't know your teacher awarded grades, you can still apply to us, but we just have to chase those up for you and get those off you. And then we're also back in the appeals process as well. So if you do have any issues with the situation you find yourself in, please feel free to give us a call, and we might be able to look to, you know, get you on a course if you meet the requirements that we're looking for. But it's a pretty complex time. It's pretty confusing. There's a lot of ways that you can apply to uni at the moment. So I guess just to sort of summarize quickly, just to, you know, so I don't want to waffle on because it's quite difficult to talk through all these things. If you've got your grades, you can apply to us. If you're going to use teacher assessed grades, you can apply to us. And if you're going off your predicted grades, you can also apply to us, but we will just need to get those results from your school or college.
Perfect, thank you. And would the process be similar for BTEC students as well?
Yes, so obviously BTECs, I believe, don't quote me on this if I'm incorrect, but I checked just a little bit earlier about when BTECs might be awarded. So obviously students are still waiting for BTECs. And I do want to just emphasize that we do share your frustration. It is, you know, really challenging times. I believe Pearson, who are one of the bigger governing bodies, awarding bodies for BTECs, have come out and said that they will be released by this Friday. But obviously you don't want to hold, you know, this might change, so just keep your eye on that. But BTECs is the same scenario as well. If you've got predicted grades for your BTECs, feel free to give us a call. The tricky thing is we understand that a lot of our courses are sort of first come, first served basis, especially for clearing. So we want to understand your situation and the troubles and the stress that you might be going through right now, but we do want to get you at the university. So same again, if you've got a course you'd like to apply for, please feel free to call our clearing team. You can see the banner that's just coming up there, or you can WhatsApp us if you prefer, and we can look to try and get you on a course if one is available.
Thank you. Yes, so the number for our clearing line is 0116 257 7000. And if you don't feel like calling, you can message us on WhatsApp on 07970 655 800. If you're calling from abroad, please make sure to include the country code, which is +44 when you call, and just get rid of the 0. So it'll be +44 116 257 7000. But yeah, we're here to help. So just about clearing is a bit of a scary word to a lot of people, I think. Could you just tell us a little bit more about it, and maybe explain it to people a bit more so it's not that intimidating anymore?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you mean. I mean, clearing itself sometimes has sort of negative connotations associated with it. But I just want to emphasize that clearing is a really, really good opportunity for students to get a place on a course if they are not yet holding an offer. So thousands of students go through clearing every year to get to university. And essentially all clearing is if there are spaces that are still on certain courses at certain universities, students can apply to those courses and try and secure a place. Now, the only thing that you need to bear in mind, really, if you are applying through clearing, is that you can't currently be holding any offers with any institution. So you can't have a firm choice or an insurance choice. You have to be having no offers. Now, you can still apply to different universities if you are holding an offer. You just have to release yourself. Now, you can do that through your UCAS track. So all you want to do is log in on your UCAS profile, the one that you used to apply to university, and you'll be able to release yourself. But obviously, before you do that, speak to the university that you're interested in. Give us a call on our WhatsApp number, message us on WhatsApp, or give us a call. Have a chat with us. Let's see if your predicted grades match what we're looking for. If they do, we can make you an offer, and then you can look to secure that offer by adding it as a clearing choice on your UCAS track. But yeah, just to really re-emphasize, clearing is a really great opportunity if you've not yet got a space at university. And when it comes to graduating, when you're with all your peers and your classmates at graduation, it doesn't say on your certificate that clearing or anything like that. At the end of the day, when you get to university and you're sitting in your seminar group or your tutorial group, and then you're graduating with the same people. They're all like-minded individuals, and you've all got there through different routes, but at the end of the day, you're all coming out with a similar qualification, and clearing is just a really good opportunity to get you there. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that you don't have a place. It's sometimes you might have a change of heart, or you didn't want to go to university, and then last minute you decided you wanted to go, and you think, oh my God, it's too late to, I've not created a UCAS account. What do I do? This is an opportunity for you to change your mind and find the course that's right for you and find the university that's right for you. Or you might have decided you don't want to move away from home, or you decided you want to move away from home and you would like to go to a different university. So that's what clearing is here for. Definitely. We're here to help, definitely. And Jackie, did you want to say something as well?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Really what we see clearing is just another mode of applying for university, and happens to happen at a different time of year, basically, than you might say the kind of going through the UCAS version of it. And certainly once students are with us, you are a student at DMU. There's no distinction made between the mode of application that you use to come to us. And once you're with us, we want to make sure is that you can learn as effectively as possible, join all your peers on your chosen course, and carry on through the length of your course, and then graduate successfully at the end of it. So really, I think it's about for some people, timing has a lot to do with it as well. And certainly, again, as I was saying earlier, this year being such an odd year, it's thrown everything up in the air. So really, clearing is the point where you make an application because for whatever reason you've made different decisions maybe earlier. But really, I think the really important thing to emphasize, as Henrik was also saying, that we're here on the other end of the line or on the other end of WhatsApp, and that we really do want to hear from you. And if you do have questions or you need to discuss your options, keep trying, and there will be somebody here who will be able to help you.
That's right. Thank you, Jackie. And we have a few very interesting stories about students who actually came to DMU through clearing. If you go to our website and look for the clearing page. We have quite a few very interesting stories for students. Okay, Henrik, back to you then. So we do make something called a verbal offer through clearing. Could you expand a little bit on that? Can you get a verbal offer if you're still holding your choices, your firm and insurance choices?
Yeah, definitely. So when you're applying through clearing, you'll be made a verbal offer if you sort of meet the criteria that the university or what the course is looking for. You'll then essentially be sent a follow-up email. So please check your spam, check your junk box, because sometimes it can slip into there. And the confirmation email that you receive from us is super important. So it will tell you some information on booking your accommodation, student finance. It'll have the course code on there. So just to quickly mention, if you have already applied for student finance and you are looking to apply through clearing, maybe you change university or change courses, it is worth just giving student finance a call, telling them the course code, and they can update all the admin stuff on their side. And then you don't have to, reapply through student finance, because that can be quite a lengthy process. And sometimes also within that verbal offer, we might ask for some evidence. So say if you were to study an art and design based course, we might ask for a portfolio. If you were to study maybe one of the health and life science courses, something like nursing or midwifery, we might ask for an interview. And all these conditions that are within that offer are included in that email. So it is paramount that you check that email and just read through all that. When you do receive that offer from us, you have until 5 o'clock the next working day to get that added to your UCAS. And then you can look to confirm that offer, and then you can start assessing things like your accommodation and that kind of thing, if that's something that you're interested in. As Olga mentioned, you can also essentially receive a verbal offer if you are holding an offer elsewhere. You just need to release yourself from that offer, which you should be able to do through a UCAS track. So you could be able to go on there, you can release yourself. It's just a button that you click. It might ask you a couple prompts just to make sure you know what you're doing. But yeah, if you just release yourself on there, any reason that isn't an option, it's not working for you, contact your university that you're holding an offer with. They'll be able to release you. They should give you a little bit of a time frame. And then same again, contact us if you've got any issues, and we can look to make you that offer.
Thank you. That sounds pretty straightforward. So you don't need to ring up your universities or your choices. You can just do it yourself on UCAS.
Yeah.
So what happens if there are no places on the course that someone is interested in?
Okay, yes. So we do try to be flexible as we can, but it is just worth bearing in mind that we have a certain amount of spaces for certain courses, and they are given out on a first come first served basis, essentially. Some courses are more popular than others, so they might be full already, but some courses might still have places on them. Now, the best thing I'd say is to look at our course website, or look at the UCAS website, or alternatively give us a call or drop us a WhatsApp message, and we can look to talk through those options with you. But if there's a course you are interested in that is full, we might be able to offer you something that's quite similar, or might be able to give you a route onto that course. If not, what I would recommend is maybe holding tight and maybe applying the next sort of calendar year, the next cycle, because the last thing we want you to do is sort of rush into anything that you're not too sure about. So really do take your time, and it's a really good opportunity. Speak to our call handlers that are on the phone, have that conversation with them. They're all super knowledgeable, and they'll be able to sort of suggest what might be best for your situation and sort of what you're looking to do in the future.
Thank you. And just to answer this question again, just to a lot of students are asking that is, can you make an offer based on their predicted grades?
Yes, so we can make a verbal offer based on predicted grades or your teacher assessed grades, and we can accept you onto a course essentially once your school have sent those over to us or your college have sent that over to us. So we are obviously supporting the revised sort of government legislation instruction thing, whatever you want to call it, that came out last week. So we are looking to do that. It is also obviously worth noting that as soon as if you are looking to apply through clearing and you are someone that's studied your BTECs, as soon as you have got those qualifications, please feel free to give us a call or have a look at the courses that we've got on offer. We are trying to accommodate all BTEC students. Obviously, we understand that there is a little bit of a delay with you guys, so we do empathise with you. But any issues around anything regarding clearing, please do give us a call on 0116 257 7000. Or you can even, message us from the comfort of your own bed, if you like, on WhatsApp at 07970 655 800, and you'll be able to speak to somebody and they'll be able to give you the information that you're looking for.
Thank you very much, Henrik. That was very useful. So if you guys have any more questions, ask them in the comments, and we can answer them at the end of the stream. And the number is at the bottom of the screen for you as well. And we're going to move on to accommodation. So I'm going to introduce Lydia now. Lydia, would you like to tell us a little bit about your role at DMU?
Good morning. Yeah, my name's Lydia and I'm the accommodation manager here at DMU. So my role is to oversee the booking process for sort of the new intake of students who join us sort of September, October time. And I work with our private nominated providers and our DMU owned and managed halls with the operational side.
Thank you, Lydia. So if students are coming to DMU through clearing, can they still apply for accommodation?
Yep, of course. So we run a fully online service and there's eligibility attached with accommodation. So you must be holding unconditional firm or conditional firm offer. So when you're coming through clearing, once you've accepted your verbal offer on UCAS track, usually within about 24 hours, you should receive an email from our system, which has your username and password and the link to our online booking service. So you use those details to log in and it will show you all the available rooms and you can make your selection from there.
What accommodation do you have on offer at DMU? Do you have different options? Do you have ensuite and shared?
Yep, we have quite a big variety. So all of our halls are situated within halls of residence. So they do vary in size. We've got some smaller halls, which are around 200 beds, to the larger halls that are about nearly 700 beds. Most of our halls, most of our rooms are within what we call cluster flats. So there'll be a number of bedrooms within the flat, and then you have a shared kitchen and sort of living area. And then the bedrooms that you can choose, yes, we have either shared facilities. So you usually have a wash hand basin in your room, and then you have shared showers and toilet areas, or you have an ensuite. So you have your own shower, WC and wash basin in your room. We do have a very small number of studios which are self-contained, so you're not actually sharing with anybody. So hopefully there's something for everyone to choose from.
And are students guaranteed a room if they apply to DMU through clearing?
Through clearing, yes, they will be issued a guarantee, and that will all be detailed in their offer letter. So it does come with a few sort of terms and conditions and a bit of criteria, which generally are around deadlines that students need to have accepted their verbal offer and then made their provisional booking on the accommodation website. So the provisional booking consists of logging on and reserving a room and making a £200 booking payment, and then that secures your provisional booking.
Thank you. Could you give us a bit more details about the contract length and prices for different halls of residence?
Okay, so there's quite a lot to choose from. So there is a page on our website which is dedicated to prices and contract lengths. So all of the contract lengths do have the minimum term that you require for the academic year, but most of them do go into the summer period. So they end generally around July of the following year. And then the prices, weekly prices do vary massively. So they do start at £99 a week for some halls, going all the way up to £197 a week and everything in between. So what we recommend is you use the website, do your research, but always look at the total contract price, because it's the weekly rent and the contract length that's going to dictate the overall price. We'd also recommend that you look at the instalment dates for the rent as well. So they're on the individual hall pages on our website, just to be mindful that some halls do have a payment before you arrive, and that will be before your student funding has been paid into your account.
Thank you. That's an important one to know, isn't it? Because there are just a lot of different options for paying in different installments and deposits. So make sure you go onto our accommodation page on our website and have a good read through all of the halls options and make your choice and pick the best one for you. But as Lydia mentioned, if you share, it can be cheaper, which is actually something I did in my first year, and I really liked my accommodation. It was lovely. So what are your plans for next term then? What measures have been put in place at the accommodation and what it's going to look like?
Well, yeah, so lots of things have been going on in the halls. It's going to be similar to what's been implemented across the campus. So we have, done deep cleaning throughout the whole of the summer throughout the halls. We have implemented social distancing measures. There are hand sanitizers at entrance points throughout the halls. We also are, in our halls, DMU owned and managed, and the nominated halls, this is for, the cleaning has been enhanced across the areas, and that will continue when, once the students have arrived and are in occupation. So that's things like, sanitising the touch points on a more regular basis, deep cleaning of the common areas such as the foyers, reception areas, common rooms, laundry rooms, that kind of thing. And importantly, for the arrival process, all the halls will be contacting students via emails. You'll be invited to complete an e-induction specifically for accommodation, and this will describe the arrivals process. You will need to book an arrival slot so the halls know who's coming when, and you will be restricted on who can move into the hall with you, like just one member of your family generally, and then you'll be asked to move off site and go and explore the city. And they are extending the days that you can actually arrive, just so we can get everyone moved in whilst maintaining that social distancing.
Perfect, thank you. That is very useful to know as well when you're planning your arrival on campus. So keep an eye on the communications from your chosen accommodation option for that. Thank you, Lydia. So if you would like to find out more about accommodation, drop us a comment and we'll try and answer your questions at the end of the stream, or go and browse through different accommodation options on our website. There are some really lovely ones, and like Lydia said, there are different prices and options for whatever is it that you're looking for and whatever is that is important for you during your time here. Okay, moving on to student experience. So we're going to talk to Tini now. Tini, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the course that you studied here, and then we'll carry on with the questions.
Yeah, so like Olga said, my name's Tini. I just actually finished university, so I studied international business at DMU, but I also did a placement year 2 where I worked at the university. So I've lived and worked at DMU for the last 4 years now.
Nice, thank you. So what did you enjoy the most about your time at DMU?
Oh, I actually really enjoyed my placement year. I loved it. I loved it to bits. I worked at DMU. I worked at DMU local, so I did something quite similar to Henrik. So I worked with schools and education, where I went out to schools, children came onto campus to give university experiences from quite an early age. But I just loved sort of being professional. I loved putting what I had learned in my degree into practice, seeing how my different marketing modules that I had studied applied to an office job, and where I would be running events. It all sort of worked out. I just found it really interesting.
So DMU Local is our volunteering scheme here at DMU. So you must have done quite a bit of volunteering then as well.
Yeah, so in my first year, I got the opportunity to go to New York with DMU Locals, where we volunteered in a senior centre for LGBTQT plus people. And then I've also had the opportunity to teach English in both India and Thailand, which is completely incredible. So that was obviously also with DMU Global. But then, yeah, so on my placement year, I coordinated opportunities for students going to schools, doing coding clubs and clubs to do with sports and societies, and things like Warning Zone, which is a charity in Leicester. It's based on Fog Island, where they sort of teach year 6 pupils about the sort of social dangers and more online dangers now as well. Then a lot more. But that's the biggest, some of the two of my favourite things I did that year.
That sounds so exciting. What was it like teaching abroad and living abroad?
It was insane. So the language barrier, obviously, for Thailand and India is massive. There's no sort of, it's not like going into Europe where you can sort of figure out some words. It is completely different, but it was really great just because it was always children. So they were interested to learn things like colours and emotions, and you just do a lot of singing and dancing. It is a really fun experience.
That sounds amazing. So what else did you do then alongside your studies at DMU? That already sounds like a lot. But were you a part of a society maybe?
Yeah, I was. I was part of the Pole Fitness Society. I started it in my first year. And then in my second year, I was vice chair. Obviously, my third year, I did a placement year, so it wasn't quite as involved. And then in my fourth year, I started out as vice chair, but then ended up taking over as chair of the society as well. So yeah, that was great. I had a committee of about 10 people behind me. We had a massive social presence, but also a really big class presence. So we coordinated I think 6 classes a week that were just for DMU students, and then sort of like various like charity things that we did over the few years as well.
Sounds like you had a very busy time at DMU doing all of that alongside your degree as well.
Not a lot of sleep.
How did it work during the lockdown and when everything moved online? How did that go for you?
Yeah, so obviously it was the last sort of couple of months of my degree, so I had a few lectures that were put online instead, but a lot of my modules had already finished by that point. I was meant to have, I think, 2 exams, but they got changed into assessments, online assessments. So I was really lucky, and I still lived in Leicester when the country actually went into lockdown. So I went to the library, took out 20 books I thought would help me, carry them all home with a suitcase. It was a whole palaver. And then finished off my assignments at home. So I think I had one more that was due in as part of my course naturally, and then my 2 exams got changed to assessments, and then we sort of just emailed our teachers, our lecturers for help, and yeah, it all worked quite smoothly. We got given a 2-week extension, which was really useful just because of the whole stress of being in a sort of countrywide pandemic and a lockdown. The university made sort of allowances for us. We were also given a sort of a margin of error, if that's the right way to explain it. So we wouldn't have gotten worse in those assignments than we had done at the rest of the year. So throughout the year, I've been solidly getting 2 1s and first. So I know I won't be able to score below a 2 1 or a first, which was really sort of comforting to know.
Oh, well done. Of course, it will be different for our students coming in September because they will get a chance to go to campus and use the facilities, and it will be, the experience will be a lot different to that. But from that, what kind of advice would you give to students who are joining us in September?
Say yes to absolutely everything. I know it'll be very different, but sort of get involved in as many things as you can. The best thing about DMU is that there's not just you don't have to just do your course. There's so many different things to get involved with. I know global and local will still be running things. There's sports and societies, and there's also sort of DMU works to get involved with, so you can do sort of work things alongside your course to gain experience. So just look into it, get involved in absolutely everything. If you come away from university with just having a degree, then I honestly don't think you've done it quite right. There are so many things to get involved with. My course especially was only about 10 hours, contact hours a week. So I had all of this free time, and I was no, I'm gonna do something with this, and just sit around and watch Netflix all day. I wanted to get involved in as many things as possible.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And also in terms of contact hours, remember you're supposed to be doing all of that independent studying as well. This is what the time is there for as well. But it's great that there are so many things to get involved with alongside your studies, because at the end of the day, a lot of students who apply for graduates who apply for jobs have a degree, but it's what you bring alongside that degree, all the experience that you've done, the placement year, the teaching abroad, all of that is very important. And with things like societies, make sure you get out there and join a society. And if there isn't a society for you, you can create one. You just need, I believe, 3 people four people to create a committee, and then you just need to be loving that same thing, whether it's Quidditch or beard appreciation society or anything like that might not exist at DMU already. Those actually do exist. But make sure to get involved with all of that. So that's a great advice, Tierney. Thank you. And just to talk a little bit about accommodation as well. How did you go about accommodation when you were a student?
So I actually joined DMU through clearing. So I joined in a year when it wasn't guaranteed. DMU didn't guarantee accommodation from clearing, so I had to go through a private accommodation that DMU actually recommended. So it was a 5-bed flat with a shared kitchen and shared bathroom, which is really nice. My room was really big, but I definitely would have preferred to be in a DMU accommodation with an ensuite. That is what I wish I had in my first year. And then I actually moved out into sort of private accommodations the rest of the few years I had, just because I found friends to live with, and it was that little bit cheaper. It was also that little bit sort of less secure, whereas with DMU accommodations you have a 24-hour security guard and a reception and things like that. So it's a lot more homely and is a lot more safer. But I mean, I just chose the cheaper option because it was the best option for me at the time. But DMU I know they do assist with help and finding accommodation. They also assist if you have any problems. So this year, the lights in my house stopped working for a good few months, and our landlord and our sort of tenancy provider wasn't really doing much about it. So, but we went out into DMU and into Sulays and said, hey, like, we have sort of an issue. Can you talk to them for us? And especially with lockdown, DMU sort of like wrote out a letter for us to send to all of our accommodation providers to say, we're not living there anymore. Please, can you like sort of give us like this like a little bit of our rent back? Which my landlord didn't agree to, because why would he? Was getting loads of money from us. And then, but I mean, I found that really like valuable of DMU just to give us that support, even if we're not living in DMU accommodation.
Thank you for that insight, Tierney. And you're right, a lot of students try and live in halls of residence in their first year, because it is about safety. It's also about the fact that a lot of things are included. You don't need to think about bills. You don't need to think about getting an internet provider. This is something you can go and explore in your second and third year and learn all of those adult things. But in your first year, you kind of want to be focusing on getting used to university, meeting friends. So all of that included in student accommodation is actually very helpful. And you have all the fellow first year students, and chances are you're not going to end up with people from your course in the same flat. So you will get to meet a lot of people from everywhere at the university and people from different societies. And that's how you make friends, which is particularly important in these circumstances as well, where you might not be able to go out just as often as you would have done last year. So it's a really good option to go for student accommodation in your first year. So thank you very much for that insight, Tierney. And just to finish off, what would be your top tip for universities? I know you already said join as many things as possible, but just from your time, what would be the top lesson that you've learned, or top tip that you would give to new students?
Oh, it's quite difficult. Like I said before, absolutely get involved in everything you can, and also sort of don't be afraid to try new things. So that's like absolutely anything. So that's like cooking wise, make a new meal that you really enjoy. It does get a bit expensive eating out all the time, so if you really like Nando's, learn how to make it at home. Join a new society. So there's I think there's around 200 at DMU, so they're a bit like school clubs, but obviously you don't have 200 school clubs, so there's gonna be loads of new things to get involved with. So I know they all offer sort of trial sessions for free, and then you sort of pay to join them. So yeah, definitely get involved in as many new things as possible. University is sort of the opportunity to grow up even more and try new things when you are an adult and have that sort of adult responsibility behind you. So yeah, it's a really exciting experience. So yeah, but just try everything, get involved in everything, try new things.
That's great. Thank you so much, Tierney. Guys, if you have any questions for Tierney, drop them in the comments as well, so she can tell you a little bit more about the student life, anything you'd like to know, and we'll try and answer them at the end of the live stream. And now we're going to try and speak to Callum, who is our new student. He'll be studying performing arts with us. Callum, how is it going? Can you hear us?
I think I can. I think I'm okay. I keep losing connection, but I can make it through.
Okay, that's great. Well, first of all, congratulations on securing your place at DMU, Callum. Are you excited to start with us in September?
I am honestly counting down the days. I'm so excited.
That's great. We're excited to see you here as well in September. And it's gone. Yeah, just happens in the live stream, having a bit of internet issues. Okay, so we're going to wait for Callum to come in. In the meantime, we are going to see if we can answer some of the questions from the comments in the meantime. So we had a question about applying through clearing. I have tried to speak to someone about my options through clearing, and I didn't get much help. I really don't want to wait a whole year again to come having waited a year already. Henrik?
What I'd say is, if you're not sure about anything, please feel free to give us a call back. Or if you want to look at any of the courses, you can look at them in a little bit more detail if you visit our website. So you'll be able to look at all the courses on there. You'll be able to look at the sort of teaching methods. You'll be able to look at the assessment methods. So whether the course is more coursework based or more exam based. You can look at the modules, you can look at the optional modules that you might be able to pick in your second and third year. It's a bit of a tricky one at the moment because obviously because of clearing, we don't offer every single course, and they do fill up pretty quickly. And if for any reason you don't meet the entry requirements, you still we can't make you an offer unless obviously you do meet those. So what I would say is please feel free to give us a call on our inquiry line, which I can't remember what the number is, but probably someone will probably pop up again. Have that conversation, and we'll just try our best to accommodate you. But obviously, we can only be as flexible as we can.
Thank you. And there was another one. There's just a couple of questions about processing times, really. Someone asked, "Hello, I didn't receive my unconditional offer yet. I'm a little bit concerned."
Yes, so there could be a few reasons again. We could potentially, depending on what course obviously you applied for, we might be still waiting on some conditions of your course. So depending on what you've applied for, we might be waiting on an interview. We could be waiting on something as simple as like a DBS check or a self-declaration form, a portfolio, all sorts of stuff. What I would say is if you do have any concerns, please give us a call. You can speak to one of our advisors and they'll be able to look into that for you. And then obviously the sooner you do that, the sooner we can get your place confirmed, and then you can look forward to October.
Thank you. We'll see if we can speak to Callum again now. He seems to have connected again. Hi, Callum.
Hey, I've moved downstairs. I'm hoping that this might help.
Okay. Well, hopefully this will work now. So, Callum, tell us, why did you choose DMU?
There's so many different reasons why I chose DMU. Obviously, I can't sit here all day and tell you everything, but I'll tell you the main ones. Obviously, through college, the end goal was always to go to university. And obviously, DMU was one of the first universities I'd heard of and seen about. So I thought, you know what? I'll have a look. I'll see what it's about. And I just fell into a loophole, and I kept just reading stuff and like reading student reviews, and then I sent off my UCAS application and no regret. But sorry.
No, sorry, you carry on.
One of the main reasons why I ended up firming DMU was the inclusivity and diversity. I really stand by no one being left out, and obviously DMU is really sort of strong standing in that sort of sense. And I feel like from what I've seen so far, especially compared to like other universities, that DMU is so sort of involved and caring and supportive to their students. Everything that they do is for their students, and that to me is what it's all about. And that was one of the main reasons why I ended up firming, and my course as well. That was another.
That's lovely, Callum. Did you get a chance to come to an open day or an interview day?
Luckily, I had my audition in February, so I was on campus and in Leicester, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the city. Fell in love with the people. Just everything about it is just exactly what I expected it to be.
How did your audition go? What was it like?
It was a bit scary at first. I'm not gonna lie. A bit intimidating being on campus. But as soon as we started, the staff were so like welcoming and warm, and it helped us relax. Did a few icebreakers, and then we went straight into it. And my interview at the end went really well, and then I ended up getting an unconditional.
Congratulations. Well done. So what are you most looking forward to about starting at DMU in September?
My course, obviously, but also I think I'm a very social person, so the making the new friends and just experiencing everything that uni is about.
Lovely. Okay, so do you have any questions for our panel today? You're lucky to be here and actually ask them face to face.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you would like to know?
Yeah, I think my main question, and I know that I speak for loads of other people when I ask this, is how's it been decided how much contact on campus time students are getting? Is there like a certain process in place, or where it's like split like 50-50, like, or like what is the plan?
Jackie, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, I'll do my best with this one. So it's a really good question, and we don't have any kind of specific formula. I think one of the reasons is that time spent in the classroom varies in normal times from subject to subject. So, for instance, Tierney has described the number of contact hours that she had in her program. Other programs would have a lot more than that. Some would also have maybe a little bit less than that, and then you make up your study to get really the kind of sense of full-time study in other ways. So we decided that we weren't going to go for a kind of sense that, you know, there would be a minimum number of hours on campus or anything like that. What we really wanted to do is try to make sure that those programs that really needed to be on campus were able to have some on-campus time. So that's going to be particularly relevant to something like performing arts, for instance. In the best will in the world, there's only so much you can do in your bedroom when you're studying performing arts, or biomedical science, for instance, or engineering, or something like that. So we want to try to make sure that students who are studying those kind of programs do have sufficient time on campus to be able to study properly and achieve their learning outcomes. But we also did want to make sure that students who were studying what you might call a classroom subject, so something like Tierney did study, where you don't necessarily need to be in a lab or a workshop. Technically, all you need to be is in a room with access to your learning materials. But we don't want any student to not have any time on campus if we can possibly manage it, because the group learning experience, the social learning experience, is really important for every subject. So really, what we're working on is trying to make sure that every student has some on-campus learning in the coming term and over the course of the year. The exact number of hours will vary, student to student, program to program, but we really want every student to have some time on campus every week. Alongside that, we have to keep in mind how many people can safely fit in a room, how many people can safely move across the campus, access to other forms of materials. I noticed in the comments there was a question about on-campus study spaces, for instance. We have those in the library and other study spaces as well. We have to think about making sure that students can use those spaces, but use those spaces safely. So there's a lot of moving parts in this kind of a question. Actually, it's harder to answer than it might seem to be at first. But the primary objective really is to make sure that students can learn and study safely, effectively, to make sure that you can get the information that you need, that you have the time that you need, and the access to materials and to academics that you need as well. So by the time you're with us, and by the time your timetables are released, which will be on October the 1st, that's the timetable, the release date for all of our new students, then you'll be able to see straight away on your timetable, which you can access through your MyDMU app, exactly which parts of your teaching will be on campus and which parts will be online.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Olga, you're on mute. Olga, you're on mute.
I'm really sorry. Thank you very much, Jackie. Callum, hopefully that answered your question. Do you have any more questions?
Not really. No, I'm just raring to get there.
Amazing. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on campus, Callum, and I really hope you enjoy your time at DMU. I know I did. And Teeny sounds like she did as well. So we hope that you have a great time around here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Callum. Okay, so we're going to move back to the questions from the comments. We had one comment from someone who was disappointed that the accommodation team refused to offer me a place with my 2 kids for only the first 2 weeks of self-isolation. Lydia, would you be happy to give us a bit of a information on that?
Yeah, sure. So unfortunately, our accommodation is purely sole occupancy per room. It's not suitable for families. So we wouldn't be able to accommodate families in our accommodation. Also, as we're getting towards students arriving, we are managing a lot of students who are going to be arriving early to self-isolate. The usual arrivals process is, slightly more extended. So we can only really offer students who have already booked accommodation with us and who are going to stay with us for the academic year, the ability to arrive early and complete their self-isolation with us. If we had students or people who weren't staying with us for the rest of the academic year, it makes it more complicated because of the cleaning regimes we have to put in and the time we have to leave rooms and turning them around. There would then be the possibility they wouldn't be ready for students who've already booked. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's not something we can assist with. But, there should have been a link to a different company who we know do short-term lets. And if they require any more advice, they can contact the accommodation team at accommodation.dmu.ac.uk, and we will try to, point them in a direction where they might be able to solve that 2-week period.
Olga, sorry, you're on mute again.
Just one of those.
I thought it was my speakers then.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for that, Lydia. We're sorry that that person we're sorry we cannot provide for families. But yes, there are. Leicester is a very convenient city for students, so I hope you can find an option where you can live not far from the campus and accommodate for the family. Just a couple of more questions from our comments about accommodation as well. Someone asked, hello, I intend to stay at home for my first year. How will this impact my booked accommodation?
Well, if you've booked accommodation, you may have already committed to the contract. So the advice would be, if you've booked through DMU, you need to contact us so we can check to see whether you can potentially cancel that accommodation if that's what you're looking to do. Or if you've booked direct with another provider, you need to contact them. If you have already signed up to your contract and you're outside of the cancellation period, if you do want to get released from your contract, you would need to find a replacement tenant for your room.
Thank you, Lydia. That's helpful. And also another question about accommodation is, what are the typical facilities you would get in a flat? For example, kettle, vacuum cleaner, things like that.
Okay, so generally, so kitchen-wise, you normally get obviously oven and hob, fridge, freezer, kettle, toaster, iron board, microwave, so vacuum cleaner, mop and bucket, which is useful as well. But generally it's those kind of things, and students need to bring kind of personal items like cutlery, crockery, utensils, and sometimes sorry, that's it. That's fine for the kitchens. Yeah.
Thank you. And another question is, what other facilities are like in the classic ensuite?
Facilities. So in the the classic ensuite is the designation of the room in the hall. So a classic ensuite will tell that's kind of like the standard room. So they have different room types. So a premium ensuite would be a bigger room with bigger floor area and a bit more furniture in it. So classics generally have your bed. The rooms do have different bed sizes, so most of them do have 3/4 or small double beds, so it's worth checking on the website for that detail. You get kind of like your desk, your chair, bookshelf, wardrobe, and then in your ensuite you have the shower, the WC, and the sink. So you need to bring things like towels and then all your toiletries and things like that for that.
Thank you. Sorry, the person who asked the question about staying at home for the first year actually meant the first semester. Or the first term, is there an option for students to join accommodation after the first term?
So if they haven't already booked accommodation, yeah, they can always contact us later on in the year. Obviously, if we've got any rooms that are still available, they're more than welcome to book.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Lydia. So that will be our those were our accommodation questions. We have another one about part-time jobs. Are there any part-time jobs available for students on campus? Tierney, would you like to answer that one? You're on mute.
Yeah, there actually are. So that's actually my role this year. So I was a student ambassador. So that means I worked for Unitemps, which is a university sort of part-time job provider. They work across all universities, not just DMU. So I was student ambassador. So that means I did absolutely anything in any kind of shifts around the university that were needed. So things like interview days, there were lots of us on hand to sort of walk prospective students to classes and back. Open days is when you see the most of us. We're doing tours, we're doing accommodation tours, campus tours, taking students to different faculties, and then lots of shifts around the campus as needed. So I've done sort of school visits as sort of walking kids to and from places. I've done telemarketing calls, so that's calling students about whatever's needed at that time, sort of if they're coming to open days or not. And then lots of filming across campus. So a lot of the people you see in DMU adverts are actually current students. So I've actually been in quite a few just this year alone. You can pretty much see my face in any kind of DMU advert there is. And then that's student accommodation. There's also the opportunity to sort of work in the shops and the bars across campus. So DMU has I think 4 different food providers on campus. So there's the main village, there's the Subway, there's the food village, there's a Riverside Cafe as well. So that's all students that work in those. You can also sort of work in there's a sort of 2 coffee providers on campus as well, in the library and in the main SU. So again, you can be students working in those. Then there's also sort of opportunities to work in town, but that wouldn't be as part of the university. That would be sort of you find it by yourself. I mean, I definitely I've worked in town as well as working at the university. I definitely prefer working at the university. They're a lot more conscious of the fact that you are a student. They're a lot flexible about your hours. So with being a student ambassador, you sort of sign up to any shifts you want. So that means if I had a lot of deadlines in 1 week or in a 2-week period, I wouldn't do any shifts. Whereas if it was an Easter holiday or something, I could work up to 20, 25 hours a week, and that'd be really great. There's also sort of shifts available all day, every day. So if you are in university 9 till 5, some courses are, you can work after 5 p.m. So some shifts are 5:30, and you can also work Saturdays and Sundays. There's lots of opportunities to work across campus.
Thank you, Tierney. So it would be a good idea to join, as soon as you arrive on campus, join our recruitment agency, Unitemps, which they're not necessarily even, it's not just a student ambassador job. They might have loads of different jobs around university and even in the city, but they are the agency for students because they're very mindful of student flexible hours and all of that. So that would be a good idea. And if you would like to become a student ambassador, you would have to do it through Unitemps as well. So make sure you do that when you arrive on campus. We also had a couple more questions about applications and offers and waiting for offers and waiting to hear. Henrik, what would be the overall advice? Would it be to call and check on the application? You're on mute as well.
Sorry, there's so many of these, and I still sometimes forget to unmute myself. I'd say if you've been made an offer, just double check your UCAS track hasn't updated, and just also bear in mind that obviously, as a team, the clearing operation is super busy, and it can take probably up to 48 hours for some of these things to update. Check your emails. Same again, there might be some conditions that you need to send over, things like proof of qualifications, that kind of thing. Could be as simple as that's what we're waiting for your offer to update. But if you have added it to UCAS track and it hasn't updated yet, I would just give us a call, and then we can look into that for you. But same again, any issues, any queries that you do have, any just general questions on clearing, that kind of thing, please give us a call or drop us a message on WhatsApp, and that's probably the easiest way to get those issues resolved.
Thank you. There was also a question about CAS number and how long it takes. I believe it normally takes around 2 weeks or over 2 weeks after you've paid the deposit and submitted all the qualifications. Is that right?
Yeah, so obviously this is one more for the international office. So a little bit out of my expertise, but I think you're right. I think it'll take a couple of weeks. You should be ready, all good to go before the start of term, come October time. Any issues with things like CAS or any questions for the international office, I would just say drop them an email, which is just admissions@dmu.ac.uk, and they can look to get back to you. But obviously just bearing in mind that everyone is a little bit busy at the moment and people are working from home, so turnaround times might be slightly longer than normal. But yeah, about 2 to 3 weeks I think is about right.
Perfect. Thank you, Henrik. Last question we're going to look at today is for Jackie. So the question is, what resources and areas will students have access to for independent study, like libraries and computer rooms?
Thanks, Olga. Yeah, so all of our usual areas that students would have access to will still be open for students. It's just that we might have to limit the amount of students that would be in those rooms at any one time in a way that we wouldn't have had to do in the past. So we do have computer labs, we do have quiet study spaces. The library has a variety of different forms of study spaces, and there are other areas on campuses. Students can sit down and take the time to do a little bit of quiet study. They will all still be available, but as I said, they will be laid out to observe social distancing, which means that the availability of them might vary. We are thinking about the best way to allow students to know ahead of time what availability a space might have, so that you don't show up hoping to get a space only to find that there isn't any room. So we are still working on that, hope to have something in place by the time term starts so that you can plan your day if the kind of on-campus learning that you have, for instance, is spaced out. I do want to just add something as well. The question around having accommodation, but thinking about staying at home for the first term. I can't add anything to what Lydia's already said about the position, the accommodation contract. But I do just want to say that we are working very hard, as I said, to make sure that students do have some on-campus learning throughout the first term. We do expect students to be on campus to take up that on-campus learning. Unless there is a reason that is related to health or well-being, we do expect students to be present in our on-campus offer. So if any students are considering what that might mean for you individually, I would really encourage you to get in touch with somebody at the university through the clearing line to see if you might be able to talk to somebody within your chosen program, see how this might work for you, because we aren't offering any of our degrees in a completely online format in the coming academic year. And as much as we know that it won't be the same amount of on-campus time, for the on-campus time, we do expect our students to be here. So there's something very important there that I think any student needs to consider when you're thinking about your accommodation. You will be expected to be here for the on-campus teaching that we're offering.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you everyone for your insights today and for all of the very important information that was hopefully very useful for all of our applicants and future applicants as well. So this will be the end of our live stream now. If you have any more questions, please give us a call on our clearing number, which is 0116 257 7000, or message us on WhatsApp on 07970 655 800, and our friendly team will be happy to help. But yeah, good luck to you all. We hope to see some of you in September, and we hope that you find the course that you enjoy and you love, and the place that's the most suitable for you. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, any questions, let us know, and we'll see you again soon. And thank you very much to our amazing panel.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.